Hey, Kelly.
Welcome back to Searching for Service. I'm your host, Kelly Kirk.
And I'm her co-host, Joseph Kirk.
Awkward pause. We're excited to have yet again another guest on, and this time it's thrilling. It's super thrilling. It is the Chad Larson, owner and operator of AM 950, which is where we...
And one of the newest Rotary members to the Edina Morningside Rotary Club.
We're excited to share with our listeners the how behind that, too.
And before we get into that, we should probably share what the purpose of this show is.
Go ahead.
And the purpose of the show is to, open up to future and current Rotarians all the service opportunities available, tell great stories of people that are involved in Rotary, in organizations that Rotary supports, and to ultimately, promote service and then Rotary.
Within the community.
And that Rotary is the best vehicle for that. So, how was that?
It was really good.
Good start.
Fly by the edge of your seat. I love it.
Love it. Well, thanks,
awesome.
Chad, for being with us.
Yeah.
We're really excited to have you.
Thanks for having me.
Very excited.
And as a new Rotarian, that's got to be exciting.
Yeah.
And to pump the show a little bit is because of the show.
Yep.
Yeah.
Very much so. Yeah. That is why.
Yeah, you get to sit and listen to it every week, and you're probably like, hey, these guys are pretty cool.
Yeah.
They're all right.
Get to see him once a week.
Yeah.
They're
Now
all
twice.
right.
Now twice,
Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah. Lucky us, lucky you.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. Well, shall we dive into getting to know Chad a little bit more?
That was me diving in.
Chad, where did you... Let's start off with the basics. Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in White Bear Lake, so a northeast suburb of the Twin Cities. I lived there until went to high school at Hill Murray Catholic School on the East Metro. And then from there, went to 2 years of university at Bemidji State, northern Minnesota, and then transferred and finished at Eau Claire, Wisconsin.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So you're much like me. You've seen both sides of the river now,
Yeah.
right?
Now I live on this side.
Yeah. And I can't say that I've got a favorite, but I'm going to ask you.
Oh, Minnesota.
Do you have a... No, I'm saying
I like Minneapolis more.
Yeah, okay.
And I live downtown Minneapolis with my wife, and I enjoy that. I have a lot of friends from growing up in high school on the other side, so we're still
Sure.
over there a lot. But yeah, I
Have
enjoy
they
it.
left?
It's a mix, not a lot. It
Okay.
seems like, but
I know.
there's a handful that we kind of joke with high school friends that live on our side of the town here, and versus the ones that stayed where they were. So.
Yeah. It's really the dynamic between the two different parts of the Twin Cities Metro it's wild to me.
Yeah.
But I appreciate both so very much.
Yeah, I like both. It's amazing, through business, it's more of a joke, I feel like, between friends on both sides. When I first started working, 15 years ago, I was like, you'd meet with people and they're like, I really don't cross the river. You're like, what?
I know.
It took me a while. So
What do you think's going to happen to you? You're going to break out in Ebola or something?
It was pretty odd sometimes when I talk to people. Like, I guess there's more to it than what I think.
It is really interesting. Yeah.
I think they both have their characteristics for
Very
sure.
much so.
It's completely different. It really is completely different. I sell real estate on both sides of the river and stuff, and it's just like...
It's about what suits your flavor, I suppose. But anywho, I just thought that I'd ask that question.
And part of the reason I probably like, the downtown area is just a little more vibrant in Minneapolis, and
100%.
we live in that area. When you get to the outskirts, they're different, but they still have neighborhoods and stuff that I would enjoy on both sides. But that's what kind of drove us, and probably drove us to stay on that side.
Where are you now?
We live in the North Loop in downtown Minneapolis.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And it's very, very vibrant there.
Yeah,
it's hopping.
it's growing a lot down here.
I know. It's
I couldn't
incredible.
believe that, even just after all the lockdowns and stuff, how quickly that kind of became very hustle bustly again.
Yeah.
I was like, everything else is super quiet, and all of a sudden going to the North Loop, and you're like, gosh, people are partying like rock stars down here.
Yeah.
New restaurants nonstop.
It is crazy. Yeah. You have any follow-up questions, Joe?
No, I was going to say, can you tell us a little bit of the journey of how you got to AM 950?
Yeah, so it was kind of my first real job out of college. one of my friends from high school's mother owned the station and talked me into coming over and doing sales. And at that point, I lived in St. Paul. I was like, well, that's a long commute, as I was doing it. And I thought, okay, yeah, I was interested, and I knew her pretty well. And so I started back here around end 08 or 07 and 08, and really just kind of took off with it, enjoyed it, really, started on the sales side of things, and then, kind of grew into more of a management role. And then 10 years ago, about 10 years ago now, a little less, she came, I'm ready to kind of step back on the day-to-day. Are you interested in kind of taking over? And so it was just kind of an opportunity, and it kind of grew through the sales side, and then kind of became a lot more passionate about, not only independent media, but helping small businesses grow and, just marketing in general. So it wouldn't have known that I would have kind of gotten to where I did, but it's been a really cool, and I'm lucky. Janet Robert, who was, my mentor, was very good to me. Still somebody I stay in touch with, but without her, I wouldn't have gotten where I am today, and wouldn't have gotten into it.
Well, and for our listeners, because we get podcast listeners, we got people on AM 950. Like, talk a little bit about the platform itself, and what is it about?
Yeah, so it's a news talk format. What makes us unique, especially in the Twin Cities, is we're independent. There's only a handful of stations, like I think 4 or 5 total in the metro that aren't part of bigger,
Clear
bigger
Channel.
organizations. Yeah, iHeartMedia, Cumulus, Audacy. So there's a lot of that, and that tends to happen in bigger markets. So we're an independent station, play news talk, from the left side a little bit during the weekdays. We do a mix of national, local, and regional talk show hosts, some live out of here, some live out of different cities in the Midwest, and then some more national driven.
Cool.
And then on the weekends, it goes to more lifestyle podcasting, really kind of informative and kind of lifestyle.
This show,
connect.
Sunday at 3 p.m.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And people I don't think really understood. They'd be like, oh, it's more of a weekend format, until podcasting really took off. They'd be like, oh, so what do you do on the weekends? It's not news, like it is all week. And frankly, people they switch away from the news on the weekends. It's not just radio, it's, TV, the same thing happens. So it doesn't make sense to stay in the same kind of format on the weekends. But as podcasting grew, that whole genre of, kind of a different take, that it's supposed to be lighter, not as heavy as a weekday, although obviously topics can be very heavy on the weekends too. But so it's definitely changed a little bit on people's perception of how the weekends and this type of programming works.
Cool. What's been your favorite part of owning a radio station?
Oh, well, that's hard. I mean, there's probably a couple things. Number one, I have a great staff, and just being able to be an employer and having good people, or like a family around here. You've met a lot of our team here. A lot of them have been with us Laura predates me. She was here from 2004 on, and so that's probably the biggest thing, is being able to have employees and provide for them. And then I really enjoy working with small businesses and that aspect of how do they grow, how do we do things. Most times when I meet with a business, it starts with we're talking about advertising, but it branches out because a lot of it's connected, and it can really help people out on that kind of thing. And then just being an independent news source is, I think, important, as the whole industry, whether it's radio, TV, newspapers, has consolidated so much. That's really, it's been a problem. People don't trust the news as much, and a lot of that went hand in hand with the consolidation that started in like the early 90s. So trying to stay independent, that's something I take pride in. We do our best. I mean, we're a pretty small staff here, but
small but mighty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we do what we can, and it's pretty unique to be able to still offer, what we do.
We have about a minute and a half. So what's I don't know the difference between the independent component of it versus.
So there's kind of two parts. I mean, one is just think of a corporate structure. So,
Sure.
We don't have as many layers. I think it also allows us where, yes, we're dependent on revenue from advertisers, but we're not going to not cover something because of an advertiser. Where when you're on a large scale, the reality is they have to be concerned and careful of that. The second part is it allows you to cover news that's not being covered, because if there's very few national news sources and even local. Oftentimes we may be covering or having somebody call in from something that has not been covered, and that has a lot to do with our independence to be able to have freedom to go to things that are not maybe in the mainstream at that point.
Gotcha.
Seems pretty logical to bring information to people, but
Yeah, that's the goal. That's the goal.
Absolutely. Well, I think what we'll do is we'll circle back to the component of wanting to help small businesses and the tie-in for our next section.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. As a reminder, you're listening to Searching for Service. I'm Kelly Kirk.
And I'm Joseph Kirk. Rotary is a place for all community-minded people who want to serve their areas with the support of an international organization. Join Rotary to find service. Join Rotary to find inclusion. Join Rotary to find leadership. Join Rotary to find fun. Join Rotary to find friendship. Join Rotary to find a better version of the world. Find a Rotary Club near you at Rotary.org and click on Club Finder. There is a club out there for everyone. Find your fit with Rotary. Rotary.org.
For decades, eradicating polio worldwide has been Rotary's cornerstone cause. We are incredibly close to ridding the globe of this virus, but we need everyone's help to get us to the goal. World Polio Day is October 24th. Please consider making a new donation to Polio Plus or increasing your already generous giving. Go to endpolio.org to be a part of this historical eradication of polio. You will help get vaccinations to the most remote parts of our world and help fulfill a promise we made to end polio now. 2 drops, and it stops.
Don't miss Leonard Skinner, Darius Rucker, REO Speedwagon, and Tyler Hubbard at Lakefront Music Fest, July 14th and 15th at Lakefront Park in Prior Lake. Leonard Skinner headlines July 14th with REO Speedwagon and Blackstone Cherry. Darius Rucker headlines July 15th with Tyler Hubbard of Florida Georgia Line and Joe Nichols. Tickets available at lakefrontmusicfest.com. That's lakefrontmusicfest.com. Produced by Prior Lake Rotary.
Riverbend Nature Center is a free, nonprofit natural habitat in Faribault, Minnesota, with 743 acres, the Straight River, and 10 miles of trails. Despite no public funding, it offers educational programs to almost 10,000 youth and families annually. Riverbend seeks your feedback on its new strategic plan at rbnc.org/strategic-planning by March 30th. Thank you for your time.
Hello, and welcome back to Searching for Service, brought to you by Rotary District 5950 and 5960. I'm Kelly Kirk.
And I'm Joseph Kirk. And also, on April 29th, that's Saturday, from 10 to 4, there is the Imagine 2023 Tri-District Conference. We're excited. It's the first one. That's Rotary Districts 5580, 5950, and 5960. So really exciting stuff. It's going to be getting together to celebrate Rotary and to figure out what we can do to continue to make it a better place. So that's at Madden's in Brainerd. For more information, go to imaginerotarymidwest.org.
So official. Love it. If you are tuning in for the first time, we have Chad Larson on. He's the owner and operator of AM 950, which is where we ironically record this show. And so in our last section, we got to know you a little bit more. But in wrapping up that section, you were talking about how much you love helping small businesses. And recently, you just got involved in Rotary.
Yeah. Would be 2 weeks officially.
2 weeks. I can't believe it.
Joined the Edina Morningside, the same one that you guys are in. And
I don't know how that happened.
How did that? Yeah, tell our listeners how that came to fruition for you.
Yeah, well, it started. So I met Lloyd Campbell and Tom Gump probably last summer. We started talking about a show, that kind of thing, and it piqued my interest. I've done a lot of different groups of different networking what I've always looked for is something that fits value-wise and is not just, transactional, if you will.
Yeah.
And so there was a group I was a part of for a long time, and for better or worse, some people at the top left, it kind of dissolved, and then COVID hit. I'd been looking for something and not finding a lot of places that really fit what I was looking for. So as I met them last summer talking about this, I started thinking about it. One reason in the past I'd been a guest maybe 10 plus years ago to different Rotary clubs, and I didn't feel like it was a fit at the time. I didn't probably understand as much as I do now about Rotary, which I think we'll talk about more. But B, it seemed very, I'm a white male, but older white male. There was not much diversity, and it just didn't seem like a place that I wanted to be regularly and a fit for really what I was looking for. And then as I met Lloyd and Tom this summer, I said, well, that's really changed and something we're really striving to continue to change. So that really perked my interest. And then as I started, working on this with you guys, I started to meet different people, that are active in Rotary, and saw, there is some difference than what I saw and probably what I perceived. And then when I went and was a guest at your guys' at the club that we're now part of, I saw that, and so that was really kind of the biggest reason after all that made me want to join it. And then, like I said, the other part is I probably wasn't as educated when I said I didn't want to be a part of it, chose not to in the past, about how there is a lot of things that will fit the values that I'm looking for, and a lot of opportunities. And I think I'm just learning on that stuff. But yeah.
And the coolest thing too is it always gives an opportunity that if you have something very interesting that that piques your interest, that maybe your local club isn't involved in, that you can bring that to your club. And you typically find a lot of people that are very motivated to help you succeed at it. And that's what's really cool is that, maybe our club isn't reflective of every single club. So it's,
Right.
there's differences in every club.
Yeah.
And so if you're checking out a club and you do see almost a lack of diversity in that club, you could be that, that diverse piece, because there's so much you can do and so much you can champion and so much that Rotary really supports on a structural level, even above just the single groups.
I will say, though, I think that there's a component to us being in a little bit in a bubble, though.
Who?
Here, us in the state of Minnesota.
Yeah. Oh, sure.
I mean, there is diversity here. So I actually would be curious to see what it does look like outside of our confound, if you will.
Yeah.
But to your point, that is the goal and the mission right now, specifically for this show plus Rotary and Rotary International, is to kind of flip the script on that.
Yeah, it seems like it's happening, just from my
Yeah.
and was the big reason why I just decided to join.
I think that there's a real desire for it, even in the establishment. I'm sure I'll get pushed back from other people on that, but it really does. I mean, in our club, a lot of the really well-established people are like, my goodness, we need some more young people. We need people with some diversity of thought. And I've been thinking about this. I'm like, I wonder what like the international clubs look like, right? Like, do they have the same issues? This might be a really great thing to talk about more. Is this a Rotary International issue, or is it something that we just focus on so much more
Here in
the
States.
U.S.?
Yeah.
Because we love to focus on a lot of little things sometimes, and we kind of focus on the trees through the forest through the trees, or
Yeah.
And but you know what? We're super excited that you joined. We're super excited that this show helped inspire that, or at least educate you.
Yeah, very much so.
And expose you. And then obviously we're super excited to have you part of our club.
Yeah.
You guys are missing out. Suckers.
I also love, this club, and there's a couple others that I noticed when I was looking at the morning aspect. So I can get there, and get back to the office by 9, but still where I've done a lot of things around the noon hour and that drags on, and it feels like you're almost working a half day.
Yeah.
And most stuff like this happens in Rotary middle of the week, which at least for me is by far the busiest time of the week.
Yeah.
So that was also a nice. And when I started looking around and talking to people, I did realize there is more of options than just the noon and a few other mornings. But that was a big part.
It's so funny. All three of us are morning people, so we have that yes, the morning. You talk to folks from the noon club at Edina because they meet at the Edina Country Club as well, and they're like,
No,
I had
thank
to
you.
get up early to come and visit your chapter or your club to tell you about this event that's going on, and oh my gosh, I don't know how you do it.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's kind of to each their own, right?
Yep,
Right.
yep.
And
I mean, it is funny because we're all like really bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. It's like the people at
all
our
morning
club, they
people.
are morning people
Yeah.
for sure.
Well, if you're committed, obviously, if you're going to do something, you need to be present.
Yes.
And if you're going to have trouble getting there,
Yeah.
there's other options, right?
Know
That's right.
thyself.
Yeah.
know thyself.
Know thyself.
And for me, I didn't used to be. Probably in the last 8 years, I switched from not liking mornings to being the opposite.
Yeah.
And now I get a lot of work done, kind of before the work day starts.
well, we're
It
getting
makes it
older,
easier.
right?
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
that bedtime is coming back
Yeah.
a little bit
Yes. Oh
sooner.
my gosh.
Yeah. So that was a big part too.
What have you been most excited about in just even the last couple weeks, and checking it out for the better part of the last couple months?
Yeah, it's just scratching the surface out there. Well, it was just a very welcoming. So the first thing is just starting to get to know people. I tried to sit at different places every time, and every table you sit down is very welcoming, and you get to say hi and talk to some people. So kind of first and foremost is getting, kind of to get to know people.
Yeah.
And then we've had good speakers. I think that's part of it makes it interesting in the mornings. And then what being only 2 weeks in, I'm just starting to poke around. I am interested in doing some of the things that are just not maybe outside of the club and different things that may present themselves. And I'm just starting to learn about different aspects around that and different opportunities. And
You gotten shaken down for a committee yet?
not yet, but I will. I mean, that's I've been in groups, and
The community service committee is taking
Applications.
Applications.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's why part of the reason I would do it. So I will probably join a committee sooner than later.
I would
want to find
recommend
the
it.
right
It's-
one.
Yeah, I would recommend it. It's a really great way to go deep into a certain segment
Yeah.
of Rotary with a lot of support.
Yeah.
You're not going at it alone. There's a committee with you. You can ask a lot of
Yeah.
questions. You get exposed to kind of, the club meetings. And again, for those that are listening that have never been to a club meeting, this will kind of help. Is, we sit and we have conversation. Our club does breakfast. Some do other things. We kind of have a conversation. We go right into the meeting. We talk about a fun fact, thought of the day. Go through an itinerary calendar of events if there's upcoming service projects, things like that are going on, and then we typically have a speaker,
Yep.
and then we're out of there.
Flies by.
8:30, boom, gone. Everyone
Yeah.
the speaker goes past 8:30, you see half the room get up and leave.
Yeah.
So it's. I don't know where I was going with that. I
You
completely
were talking about
lost
the
the train of
components
thought.
of
Well, and being a committee,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
as I'm looking at it,
So-
one thing when being in a committee too, I feel like you want to be very you want to contribute. So that I won't just pick any committee. I want to pick something that will,
fit your bill.
and something I would provide more value to.
Yeah, that's a good idea. And wow.
And there
Here
we
we
have
are.
it, folks.
Well, we'll talk a little bit more about what you're hoping to contribute to Rotary in the next segment.
I'm Kelly Kirk.
And I'm Joseph Kirk. See ya.
Riverbend Nature Center is a free, nonprofit natural habitat in Faribault, Minnesota, with 743 acres, the Straight River, and 10 miles of trails. Despite no public funding, it offers educational programs to almost 10,000 youth and families annually. Riverbend seeks your feedback on its new strategic plan at rbnc.org/strategic-planning by March 30th. Thank you for your time.
Don't miss Leonard Skinner, Darius Rucker, REO Speedwagon, and Tyler Hubbard at Lakefront Music Fest, July 14th and 15th at Lakefront Park in Prior Lake.
So rock me
Leonard Skinner headlines July 14th with REO Speedwagon and Blackstone Cherry. Darius Rucker headlines July 15th with Tyler Hubbard of Florida Georgia Line and Joe Nichols. Tickets available at lakefrontmusicfest.com. That's lakefrontmusicfest.com. Produced by Prior Lake Rotary.
For decades, eradicating polio worldwide has been Rotary's cornerstone cause. We are incredibly close to ridding the globe of this virus, but we need everyone's help to get us to the goal. World Polio Day is October 24th. Please consider making a new donation to Polio Plus or increasing your already generous giving. Go to endpolio.org to be a part of this historical eradication of polio. You will help get vaccinations to the most remote parts of our world and help fulfill a promise we made to end polio now. 2 drops and it stops.
Rotary is a place for all community-minded people who want to serve their areas with the support of an international organization. Join Rotary to find service. Join Rotary to find inclusion. Join Rotary to find leadership. Join Rotary to find fun. Join Rotary to find friendship. Join Rotary to find a better version of the world. Find a Rotary Club near you at Rotary.org and click on Club Finder. There is a club out there for everyone. Find your fit with Rotary. Rotary.org.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Searching for Service, brought to you by Rotary District 5950 and 5960. I'm Kelly Kirk.
And I'm Joseph Kirk. And just as a reminder, we do love 5-star reviews.
Oh, you're switching
If
it up
listening
on
to the
me.
podcast.
I thought you were going to go. You can find us on your favorite podcast platforms. I had to get it in. If you're tuning in for the first time, we have guest Chad Larson. He is the owner of AM 950. We're so happy to have you. It's been a pleasure so far. Last section, we learned how you got involved in Rotary. In this section, we're going to talk about what you're excited to get involved in. And we kind of sectioned out of like what are some of the opportunities, but you're going to get tapped sooner or later to get involved in one of the many committees. And so what's something that you're most excited about that you're like, yeah, I'm thinking that's probably going to be
I'm still kind of, learning on where. So as I was thinking about doing it and talking about doing it, it's like, well, values that I have that I think, there's different, the Rotary shares, but there's different components and different ways to serve it. It is, as we talked about, is diversity and inclusion. That's something that, I should have talked about when we talked about it on the radio station. I like to, as an independent media source, give voices to people that don't always have a voice. So that's something I'm passionate about. And then another one that I did look at as I was just kind of browsing through is some of the environmental issues.
Sure.
So those are probably the 2 areas that, as I try and find where I'll branch out to within the Rotary, where those are, I'm just starting to. I was telling you guys before we started, as I go through the website, I'm just starting to scratch the surface on things, and I think as I not just do that, but take advantage of the things that the Rotary offers, not just through our club, but going to different whether it's the meetups or as you talk
or
about
the Tri-District Conference,
or the annual the annual conference. I think things will become clear on which way to go. And then like I think I've mentioned, I think also something I can provide value in, if it doesn't need help with maybe communications, marketing, or some of the skill sets I bring, then go somewhere where there is need. And that's kind of where I'll start, and which of those, and whether I'm not hip to the lingo, I'm not good at the lingo, but like the sub Rotary groups or the more that are kind of not weekly, but have different missions. I think that's something that's really interesting to me too.
Are there any service projects that you're excited about exploring or bringing to Rotary? Is there something that would?
I don't know about very specific ones I'd bring to there. I actually saw it in the email. I could help on the golf committee.
Heck yeah, man.
Yeah. We're both a part of it.
Are you both?
Yeah.
I was out there.
Just keep following, man. It's cool.
Yeah.
But no, I
lead you to the promised land.
I need to find more. And I'm a little blessed on having a station that we get to we get to do a lot of things that serve the community, and so I've already got a vehicle for some of the the nonprofits and some of the things that I've already done or that we work with. But within those, especially as I am now a part of it, there's probably things I will bring through other groups that I've already been working with, whether it's been short term, long term. We have a lot of partners.
Yeah.
And,
and I mean, Rotary's connected everywhere. That's the thing that I've figured out. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's hard to throw a rock. I mean, it's kind of like a realtor, right? Like it's hard to throw a rock and not hit 10 of them. So it's really cool to see some of the underlying connections that aren't direct, like at the club level or that are just, hey, I've been working with this nonprofit for 10 years and it's really near and dear, and I've brought them, they come into the Rotary Club once a year and speak, or, just kind of like these really small underlying things that create connective tissue amongst small businesses and nonprofit organizations. That's really exciting.
Well, the thing that we've come to realize too, and just with the amount of guests that we have had on so far, is if there isn't something that's speaking to you, but there's something else that you're passionate about, you can approach Rotary.
Yeah, you can bring it to them.
Bring it to them. So.
Yeah, I mean there's 7 areas of focus. I mean, if you can't fit it into one of those 7 areas,
no, there's a lot.
It's like that's a pretty peculiar thing if you can't make it fit. So.
Well, and we talked before we started the show. You mentioned environmental might be one of the areas, and
Jake would love another member of the.
Yeah, he would. But
I think it's just him.
We have Rotary has focuses for each month, and we had mentioned that water and sanitation was the focus for the month of March. So we'll have to figure out how to tie that in.
All 3 of us are drinking water.
Culligan water.
Yeah, clean water. A lot of the world doesn't have clean water. There's a lot of people that are out there.
I should have prepped a segment all about water. No, not my.
A lot of March left. We'll get on it.
There is, for sure.
What's been the biggest thing that you've learned about Rotary that you didn't know prior to this show?
Well, so I would say though, I knew that there was the international component, but I thought it was probably more us or Americans going to serve, whether it's underserved populations in Africa or across the globe. But I've learned there's a lot more. There's a lot more clubs. Not just it's an international club. I didn't realize. I mean, I knew that, but I didn't realize how much it's connected and how there's it's not just
it's everywhere
going us going out of the U.S. or North America, and that was kind of cool and it seems like every time I turn I see something around that part of it, and I guess I was shocked, and that's kind of just something I didn't realize.
Yeah.
One of the things that always shocks me, and if you look really closely, is you'll see Rotary's involved in so much stuff. Like you'll see the Rotary symbol up, and you're like, what are they doing? Where are we now? Like, jeez.
Yeah, I've just started to notice it in things
you just
where
see it everywhere.
Wouldn't have previously.
Yeah, I mean, it's just that's just so cool. I almost like to think of Rotary as a universal language around the world, just because we all share the same values and understand service is so important, and really kind of the whole thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, one of the things that I think we're talking about next week is the scholarship program and, where some of the money is going. And, then yesterday, another person I ran into here at the station was in, and they were talking about all the different scholarships. It's a startup, or supporting startups, but for high schoolers and on. And then I mentioned that, I joined the Rotary. I was like, he was in from Washington, D.C. I'm part of the Rotary there. And
fascinating,
like part of the reason it was like, wow, it is different, or, very connected, but similar work. And obviously, I bet we didn't talk long enough to know if he had worked with his club to develop some of the money they're giving back through the nonprofit that he started, because it's relatively new. I think he said it's about 3 years old, the nonprofit that's providing, and they're going state by state. And why he was here was to talk about the program they're doing here. But it was
Neat.
It was really cool. It's like, oh, he's
Very
doing
neat.
very something similar, and then it was interesting.
What's something that you hope that you'll be able to bring to Rotary?
Yeah. So I think the one thing is hopefully I can help grow. I think hopefully as a network and grow diversity through it. That's one main thing I think I can do. Secondly, I think I can help the communication side. Obviously, we're doing this, but part of the reason I wanted to be active was to help grow the show and help grow through the communication side of things.
Yeah.
I think there is a disc until you get to know the Rotary. Like I said, I had the wrong perception before I started. Met Tom and Lloyd, and then as I got to know you guys, and then joined the group, what I perceived it was totally different. And I had been to a meeting. It was long ago.
Well, and I view it as like a success story. I mean, quite literally from our conversations with Lloyd and Tom, and has been, here's our perception. This is what's happening, and you carried that same perception.
Yep.
Then the show helped reshape that perception and, empower you to go, maybe I should check out a couple of these clubs and see what's going on. And then you got involved.
Yep.
And so it's like a success story. Chad, you're a success story
You are.
But I think you'll see more of that as people, and I think obviously COVID, there's probably stagnant. Everybody was not. So I think there'll be more growth just in general. But I think as that perception changes, and I think it is, and as I've experienced, there will be more and more growth and diversity as it comes. And
I agree.
There's opportunity.
I agree.
Well, we'll transition to our next section.
Last one.
As a reminder, you're listening to Searching for Service. I'm Kelly Kirk.
And I'm Joseph Kirk. What is Beethoven's favorite fruit?
Banana. For decades, eradicating polio worldwide has been Rotary's cornerstone cause. We are incredibly close to ridding the globe of this virus, but we need everyone's help to get us to the goal. World Polio Day is October 24th. Please consider making a new donation to Polio Plus or increasing your already generous giving. Go to endpolio.org to be a part of this historical eradication of polio. You will help get vaccinations to the most remote parts of our world and help fulfill a promise we made to end polio now. 2 drops and it stops.
Riverbend Nature Center is a free, nonprofit natural habitat in Faribault, Minnesota, with 743 acres, the Straight River, and 10 miles of trails. Despite no public funding, it offers educational programs to almost 10,000 youth and families annually. Riverbend seeks your feedback on its new strategic plan at rbnc.org/strategic-planning by March 30th. Thank you for your time.
Don't miss Leonard Skinner, Darius Rucker, REO Speedwagon, and Tyler Hubbard at Lakefront Music Fest, July 14th and 15th at Lakefront Park in Prior Lake. Leonard Skinner headlines July 14th with REO Speedwagon and Blackstone Cherry. Darius Rucker headlines July 15th with Tyler Hubbard of Florida Georgia Line and Joe Nichols. Tickets available at lakefrontmusicfest.com. That's lakefrontmusicfest.com. Produced by Prior Lake Rotary.
Rotary is a place for all community-minded people who want to serve their areas with the support of an international organization. Join Rotary to find service. Join Rotary to find inclusion. Join Rotary to find leadership. Join Rotary to find fun. Join Rotary to find friendship. Join Rotary to find a better version of the world. Find a Rotary Club near you at rotary.org and click on Club Finder. There is a club out there for everyone. Find your fit with Rotary. Rotary.org.
Hello, and welcome back to Searching for Service, brought to you by Rotary District 5950 and 5960. I'm Kelly Kirk.
And I'm Joseph Kirk.
And as a reminder, you can find us on your favorite podcast platforms.
And 5 gold stars.
Like and follow, too.
Like and
Like
follow.
and follow.
Yeah, see, look at that.
Like, follow.
Perks of having the big shot in the app.
And we're also on Facebook Live, soon to be LinkedIn Live. We've got it all going. We've got it all covered. So if you are tuning in for the first time, we've got Chad Larson. He is owner of the station, AM 950. Stop. My gosh. Sometimes I like to talk with my hands.
No, I was trying to tell you. See, she's not getting as much sleep these days.
We're in the home stretch here. So,
well, Chad, we thought that we would spend we typically talk a lot about what do you see for the future of Rotary or AM 950, but I think something really great to talk about before we get to that is, you're kind of an avatar of what our audience is and the people that we're really looking to get involved into Rotary or just get involved into service. So what advice do you have for those that are listening to this that have either had a poor experience with Rotary in the past, don't know what Rotary is, or just not sure what to do to serve?
Yeah. Well, I think there's a couple things. First and foremost, well, if you're listening, maybe you have gotten a better understanding of what Rotary is. And, there's the things you've heard of in the past, polio and international service. But it was as I learned more and dug into it more. So just do some research. I think you'll learn that there's so much going on. They're so involved in your community, from the smallest level on up. And so, A, look into that. B, look into what things may be a fit for you that they're doing, because there is so much diverse options and things that are going on. From there, I think the other thing is just try and connect with somebody or a group, and go to the meeting and talk to people. It's a very inviting place. They're very welcoming. Just about everybody will come and say hi to you as they can for time. You're not gonna feel uncomfortable. Obviously, I think we talked about we like mornings. That was a minor part of it, but it was really trying to get there. And as soon as you get more of an experience with it, you'll understand it, and understand why you want to be there and why you should check it out. So I think that's a big part. So if you know somebody, obviously I met Tom and Lloyd before I got to know you guys, but it was nice that when I was going to a meeting, I knew you guys were there. So it wasn't, walking in. But I think, I could have gone to any meeting and probably had a pretty good experience. So you don't have to just know somebody, within a club. Or if you know somebody and that's not going to be maybe the geographic or the right area, go learn about it, and then they can connect you into other clubs.
Yep.
So I think that's kind of a good starting point.
That's good advice.
It is. Yeah, and that's a beautiful start too, is testing out maybe one or two or even more clubs. But the beauty of going and maybe finding out this location just isn't the right fit.
Yep.
Or, maybe you're like, it just isn't the right fit.
Yeah, it could be.
There's somebody there that can kind of help point you in the right direction, which is what you see most commonly with Rotary and the friendliness that goes along with it.
Well, I think you said something, too, that we've never mentioned on this show and we've never had anybody else say, is do some research.
Yeah.
Like we never just go, we keep saying, just come to a meeting because, we all know, once you're in a meeting, you kind of understand it. But before that, do some research. Figure out if Rotary does align with your value system or the things that you want to do. And if it's not Rotary, find something else that does.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, the entire purpose of this show is to connect people to service opportunities, whether that's Rotary, whether that's not. The reason why we really support Rotary is because it seems to be everywhere and pretty much encompass just about everything. But there's going to be specific other service organizations that maybe focus a little bit more on, whatever you're passionate about. So just do the research, make sure that Rotary does support the things that you're really ambitious about. And you know what? If the local Rotary Club doesn't support what you're, really passionate about, is go in there and be the change.
Yeah.
I think that would be really cool
the
too.
change you wish to see in the world.
Yeah. I got a question for you guys. So, as a very new Rotary member, as, like I said, first really trying to get familiar with the group and with people. But what would you advise somebody that's just obviously taking the leap to join and found the club that they're comfortable with? What kind of next steps and what would you be your recommendations having been in the Rotary for a while?
Kelly's got her hand up.
Because otherwise you just go. Get involved in a committee.
Yeah.
Truly, I mean, I think that the first opportunity that I had personally was Jim Bazal coming up to me and going, "You're going to be a part of the golf committee." It wasn't even like, do you want to? He's like, "Hey, you're going to."
Yeah.
It's like, okay, sounds good. And then Joe's like, "Oh, cool, you're a part of the golf committee too." Sounds good. But then I decided, just because of the nature of who I am and it fits my bill, right, that the social committee was something that I wanted to be involved in too. So I mean that takes me out of like, it's Joe and I at the Rotary. Obviously we operate as two very independent people and independent businesses, but how people view us. But now I have my social committee that I am a part of, and he's got his too. So
that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I have a really interesting takeaway on all of this, and like kind of an answer for you is, my first year in Rotary, I was kind of a fly on the wall. Like, I mean, I'm super involved now, but for that first year, and a lot of people, and this would be maybe an advice that I'd even give to you is, yes, be involved, serve on a committee, but you don't have to take the lead on the committee. Just be part of it, right? Like, don't worry about championing anything out of the gate. I sat and I listened for the first year, and I'm like, listen to all of this experience in this room, and these thought leaders, business leaders, city leaders, all of these people that like are very inspiring. And the best thing to do is just be that sponge, and then just try to fill in the holes. Like, oh, you need somebody to help at this event. Okay, I can come and help at that event. I can't commit to much more than that because I just don't have the bandwidth right now. But or I just don't have enough understanding of what's happening to lead anything. But just kind of be that thing that really plugs the hole and helps others achieve what they want to do. Yep. And then through that, you'll start to figure out the things that you're really passionate about, the things that your skill set really aids, and all of a sudden, next thing you know, you're helping run the golf committee, you're helping chair the community service community, and like little things will start to happen, and then eventually maybe even attempting to go on the path of leadership.
Or dive in head first into leading a Rotary podcast show.
Or diving into a podcast show. But my point is that it's not all, you don't have to do it all right away. And it's so cool because Rotary doesn't also push that. What it usually does is it kind of brings out that, like, 'cause most of us want to do it. Most of us want to get involved and get really, really amped into something. And all it does is give you the ability to do it. So then you end up doing it anyway. But if for whatever reason you're not sure what you're passionate about, you're not sure what to do, I mean, just sit and be a fly on the wall. And that's what I did for about the first year. And then I just kind of took off because I started to figure it out.
Not I, said the fly. I decided to raise my hand for a podcast show, or have somebody raise mine for me.
We took the shortcut road over here.
I know.
You've been in Rotary for 17 seconds. You do this.
Yeah, I know. But that also, I mean, it truly has. I've been able to come from a somewhat naive spot when having guests on. Like, I truly don't know about, this and how it pertains to Rotary. So tell me more about it. Whereas, if there is somebody who's a little bit more seasoned, it's different.
Well, we talked a little bit about this off the air, is that it's part of the beauty of this show is that we don't know too much. So we're inquisitive. We're trying to – we don't assume anybody knows any information or, or we go too deep down the rabbit hole. We're inquisitive. So I think that's what naturally kind of helps the show out.
Very much.
I do want to just take, because we got just a few
do
seconds
it.
left, but I want to say that we're so thankful you are on, but we're also very thankful because you are going to be helping out during my maternity leave.
Yeah, I'm
so
excited.
we're
Thanks
excited.
for
We
having
want to
me.
make
What an
sure,
appropriate interview.
listeners knew
I'll do
that.
my best.
So.
I don't think I can fill in very well for you.
Okay.
Big shoes to fill.
Thank you again, Chad. We're so happy you were on. And I'm Kelly Kirk.
And I'm Joseph Kirk,
As a reminder, it's time to stop searching.
and start serving.